Hey, ladies and gentlemen of Christ Central. Seems like we haven't seen each other for ages. In case you've forgotten, my name is Anouska, and I'd like to share with you today a little bit about my testimony, my walk with Jesus, and a little bit about my cancer journey. So, as some of you know, I was brought up in a Christian household. My mum was a born-again Christian, and although I grew up knowing about God and knowing about Jesus, I didn't know God and I didn't know Jesus, and I certainly didn't know the Holy Spirit. I guess I was about 11 or 12 when I decided to actually just give up, and I wasn't going to be dragged to church anymore. You know, I totally lost all faith, and just bumbled through life, basically, myself, until about the late 30s, until I was in my late 30s. So I just bumbled through life, and at the age of 35 I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So my mum saw me through all my treatment and my double mastectomy, and she took great care of me, and was my rock. I then, after a year, was diagnosed again. I had a brain tumour. The breast cancer had spread to my brain. She was great. 3 months later, I had a scan and it had gone to my liver. 3 days later, she had a massive heart attack and died. And I then had to take on the care of Christian, my disabled younger brother. She'd adopted him when he was 3 years old. I was 17. So I then became his full-time carer and had to go into chemotherapy the day after her funeral, taking care of him, my own teenage son, as well as look after myself, which is quite a lot to take on when you're going through chemotherapy. It was not easy, but I did it, and I carried on. I was diagnosed again and again, and it was in 2006. It was in 2016. I did the Alpha course, and it was nothing to do with the cancer. It was just that I'd seen a flyer, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do this because there's things that I want to tell them. There's things I want to say. So I went along, and by the third session, something was said, and it was about the love of God, and I can't remember if it was actually part of the course that it was said, or if it was someone in the room. But anyway, it was, if you can imagine how much you love your child. So I could relate because I had my son Joshua. And if you can imagine how much love you have for your child, God's love is so much greater. And I thought, what? So you imagine the love you have, the Father loves you so much more than that. And at that, my heart just exploded, because I thought, but I love Joshua so much. How can there be more love than that? It's impossible. And that's what I said. I said, but I love my son so much. There can't be a bigger love than that. There can't be. And they were saying, like, but there is. God's love is so much bigger than that. And that just blew me away. And then I was just all in, and as I like to say, from then I was on the Jesus bus. I was back on the Jesus bus, and I don't know what happened to me. I just, hook, line, and sinker, fell in love, and the way God holds me is just unbelievable. And so I've since had diagnosis after diagnosis with cancer. So I've done it 6 times, and just the peace and the joy that I have, it's it's world surpassing. You know, it's not normal. I go to hospital and I have free weekly treatment, and I see other people, and they do not look like I look. They don't have the attitude that I have, and it's so weird. I didn't used to believe it, and it's only like now, 8 years on, that I see, 9 years this year, 9 years on, that I see what doctors mean when they say to me, I wish every patient was like you. Because it's such a doom and gloom face, you know, the atmosphere, their faces, the negativity. And I used to wonder why did God allow me to have cancer so many times, and why, what was the point? And I wondered, you know, when we talk about gifts of the Spirit and stuff, what's my gift? And what's my purpose here? What is my purpose? Why am I here? And it's just sort of recently that I thought, well, it's obvious that I have the gift of peace and joy, because I'm always happy. You know, it's a rare day that I'm miserable. I can't even remember the last time I was miserable. And the peace I have all the time, I just don't worry. I've never been a worrier. And I can't explain the understanding that I have. It doesn't even make sense that the cancer journey, like, to me, cancer, it's not scary. I'm not at all scared, frightened, worried. It's like an inconvenience in my life, just like having diabetes. Not even as big as that. It's like having an ingrowing toenail. And I think that I have it, and I've had it so many times, to be a positive, almost like a light in that dark place, in that room where I go to have my treatment, a happy influence. It's really difficult to put into words. Just a bit of positivity. And I get to say, you know, when asked, you know, well, how comes you're so positive? Where do you get your positive mental attitude from? Previous to doing that Alpha course, I would say vodka. Now I say Jesus, and I get to share, you know, where I've come from and what God's done for me, and how, you know, Jesus gets me through, and that I can pray, and that I get that peace and the love and the joy from reading scriptures, from praying, that I need. I don't need to worry, because God has me. And you know, I now know that I've been given cancer to use to glorify God, and that's amazing, you know. So I don't see cancer as a negative thing at all. And I will share with you that I got a phone call this week, just yesterday, telling me that last week's scans show that I do have a tiny tumour again in my brain. So this is number 7 now. And there is a plan. I will sort of, hopefully, I have some super duper radiotherapy treatment. So I don't know timings at the moment, but I will. It is under control. You know, it's tiny and it will be zapped. So it's no problem. But when I got off the phone, when she told me yesterday, I just sort of wasn't. It's like she said, I've got to have a tooth out or something. Not even that. Like, I've got an ingrown toenail, as I say. I just thought, yeah, I have cancer. Cancer doesn't have me. God has me, you know. I'm held up like this. God has me like this, holding me up. And no matter how many times cancer comes, it doesn't get me, you know. 7 times. Just go away. Get the message. You ain't having me. Not now, not ever. Because God has me. So yeah, it doesn't matter how many times he comes. It's all for God's glory. So I hope you find that encouraging. God bless you. Take care.